Right now at 6, Pittsburgh School District institutes a new cell phone policy.
Now we've got a cold and breezy start to the day out there. It's going to be windy later and not very warm. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, drivers in the Show Me State are no longer allowed to touch their phone while driving. Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Tuesday, December the 10th. And of course, as you saw just before we came on, today's Toy Box Tuesday.
Yes, it is. It's very exciting. Yesterday, I actually did some toy box shopping along with Dow Quick and Jordan Keys, our streaming anchor, and we went shopping with some kids with Soaring Heights for Toy Box, and it was so fun. It was great to see kind of the behind the scenes process of buying all the toys for all the kids in the area. It was great.
I got to do that last year, and it is a lot of fun because the kids especially, they know what other kids want. So they know what they're looking for, you know, and that's that makes it more special. But again, we'll have our telethons today, noon, 5, 6, and 9. And of course, you can give then or you can give anytime or drop off toys. You can find more information on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. And I can tell you about the cold weather. So maybe if you don't have to go outside, you will have more reasons not to. It's going to be pretty chilly. Take a look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Skies are clear this morning, but again, we've got a north breeze occasionally gusting upwards of 25, even 30 miles an hour. Got clear skies looking pretty good from MoDOT camera on 20th and Rangeline, looking back roughly to the east-northeast out there. And on to the future track, we're looking at partly cloudy, maybe even brief periods of mostly cloudy skies across the area. We'll have that gusty wind, and I think just about all of us, even briefly, should make highs into the low 40s today. They will start to see clearing skies as we go late evening and into the overnight hours. Now the winds will ease up a bit, but with clear skies, no cloud cover to act as that blanket, it gets pretty cold tonight. 30 in Joplin right now. It is also 30 in Pittsburgh, and across the region, most of us are in the 30s. In fact, I said that because earlier, not Fort Scott, Nevada dropped. Now we got Lamar down to 29, but the rest of us hanging out in the 30s. But then once you factor in that north breeze, all of us are in the 20s. Now, Cassville did feel a little warmer. You were feeling like 30 earlier, but the majority of us low to mid 20s for those wind chills. So that means kids getting on the bus this morning are going to want a coat for sure. 32, partly cloudy skies, north breeze gusting to 25. North winds ease up just a pinch, gusting to 20 by this afternoon. Still partly cloudy, about 43 when the bus brings them home. And again, I think just about all of us, even briefly, should make highs in the low 40s today. And then skies will start clearing overnight. Winds will decrease overnight. They'll pick back up again tomorrow, and it's going to be pretty darn cold tomorrow as well. Go over all the details with you in the full forecast that's coming up here in just a few more minutes. Lisa?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, authorities yesterday confirmed they've recovered a woman's body from the ruins of a house fire in southeast Kansas. Now, that fire occurred Saturday morning in the Crawford County community of South Radley. Firefighters from multiple departments responded, and now the state fire marshal's office is investigating, and authorities are awaiting results of an autopsy on the woman. Now they're withholding a name until they make a positive identification. An investigation into a woman's death follows an officer-involved shooting in Missouri this weekend. Authorities in Festus responded to the incident Sunday morning. Officers identified the truck involved and tried to stop the driver who sped off. Now, the truck then hit a concrete median and flipped. Authorities say the suspect then came out of the truck with several weapons. Police returned gunfire and struck the suspect multiple times. The man was taken to a local hospital, no word on his condition, and police say they found a woman dead inside the truck. Authorities have not released the names of the man or the woman. Emergency crews in Newton County, Missouri responded to reports of a single vehicle crash that became much more. Now, a vehicle left the road and struck a tree around 8 yesterday morning. While responding to that crash, a Newton County ambulance was also involved in a crash. As those crashes were both being attended, there was another two-vehicle crash. All three crashes took place on Gateway Drive. 4 people involved in the series of crashes were transported to area hospitals, all with non-life-threatening injuries. Well, to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, starting in January 1st, a new law will hold Missourians accountable for hand operating their phones while driving. Now, currently, violators receive only a warning, but after December 31st, those caught using their phone by hand behind the wheel will face a $150 fine for a first offense. If the violation results in serious injury, the fine is doubled, and offenders could face up to 7 years in prison. Now, we spoke with an expert who offers tips on how to comply with this new law.
The number one tip that we'd recommend for drivers, get a phone mount for your vehicle. There are, dozens and dozens of different kinds of mounts to fit every make and model of vehicle, no matter what your interior dash looks like or how old your vehicle is. And they're all relatively cheap. You can find some for around, $10 to $15. But that's going to be your best way to stay connected and compliant.
Jabari also says drivers can use their phones manually if they are calling in an emergency or crime. Well, Pittsburgh schools will soon join the ranks of others banning the use of cell phones during class. USD 250 school board members fine-tuned the district's new policy yesterday evening. Now, the basic rule, cell phones are not to be seen or used during class time. Now, that includes in the hallways and in bathrooms. During that time, phones can be on but have to be silent or in airplane mode. Also, wireless headphones or earbuds are no longer allowed. Now, corded headphones can be used with permission but can only be plugged into a computer, not a phone. The new district policy is set to go into effect January 1st. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Well, TikTok loses its bid to strike down a law banning it from the U.S. in January unless it sells to a non-Chinese company. Plus, the suspected shooter of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson has been arrested. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Tuesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning. Hershey's stockholders got a sweet surprise Monday as the price of shares rose after a report that Cadbury owner Mondelez is exploring an offer to buy Hershey. And that would potentially create one of the world's largest candy companies and unite two of the most well-known confectionery firms that also make grocery staples. But Bloomberg reported the discussions may not lead to a deal. In addition to Cadbury, Mondelez owns Oreo, Chips Ahoy, Ritz Crackers, Wheat Thins, and Sour Patch Kids. Hershey has Kit Kat, Reese's, Jolly Rancher, and Skinny Pop popcorn. On Monday, the Supreme Court declined to review a case on race-neutral efforts to diversify public schools. It comes more than a year after the landmark 6-3 ruling that ended affirmative action at universities. And that ruling prompted school officials to experiment with race-neutral policies, such as those based on geography, to promote diversity. Now, this current case involves 3 elite Boston public schools that plaintiffs said violated the Constitution with a zip code-based admissions policy. Under the policy, seats are reserved for students with the highest GPA from each Boston neighborhood. A coalition of parents and students sued on behalf of more than a dozen Asian American and white students, claiming the policy was motivated by race. Well, TikTok has lost its bid to strike down a law that would lead to it getting banned in the U.S. A U.S. appeals court upheld the law in a ruling released Friday, as the court denied TikTok's argument that the law was unconstitutional. The judges found the law does not violate the First or Fifth Amendments. Now, the ruling means the platform is one step closer to facing a U.S. ban starting January 19th. That's unless it can convince Chinese parent company ByteDance to sell and find a buyer. President Biden signed a bill in April requiring the platform be sold to a new non-Chinese owner or be banned in the U.S. Well, the nearly week-long manhunt for the suspected shooter of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is likely at an end. Yesterday, a suspect was arrested in Pennsylvania and is expected to be extradited to New York, where he now faces second-degree murder, multiple firearm, and forgery charges. Naomi Ruckham has more on the arrest and a suspect from New York.
This morning, Luigi Mangione is behind bars. The 26-year-old was arraigned and later charged with second-degree murder yesterday in the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
Justice will be delivered in this case.
Pennsylvania police were called to the scene after the Maryland native was spotted by an employee at a McDonald's in Altoona around 9:15 a.m. yesterday. Investigators say they approached him and asked if he had recently been to New York.
He became visibly nervous, kind of shaking at that question.
Police say he was carrying a fake New Jersey ID that matched the one allegedly used to check into a New York hostel last week. Authorities say they later recovered Mangione's passport with his real name, along with a gun, suppressor, and clothing that they believe are consistent with those used in the shooting, and a 3-page handwritten document expressing ill will toward corporate America.
He's a coward, not a hero.
Mangione is from a prominent Maryland family that owns multiple country clubs. He was the valedictorian of his 2016 class at the elite all-boys Gilman School in Baltimore, and later earned computer science degrees from the University of Pennsylvania.
I knew of him. I knew him somewhat well. He was a nice kid.
Mangione spent time in Hawaii in 2022 and 2023. Two sources who knew him then say he suffered from back pain due to an injury. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
The Mangione family released a statement last night saying they are shocked and devastated by the news, adding that they offer prayers to the family of Brian Thompson and all involved. And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got some partly cloudy skies to get our day started out there. You can see those on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. We're going to have another look at your forecast and the cooler weather on the way when we come back.
Well, a man who was once homeless is now living his dream as a Chicago police officer and doting father. Karen Jordan has the story.
Lavelle Schaefer has a lot to be thankful for this holiday season.
My life has come full circle. It still feels like a movie almost.
At 33 years old, he's living his dream of being a Chicago police officer and dotes on his 2 young sons.
They're looking up to me and I read their paperwork at school. What do you want to be when you grow up? Like, I want to be a police officer like my dad.
But things were vastly different 10 years ago when Schaefer says his girlfriend at the time was pregnant with their first child. He left his family's home in North Lawndale to support her, and soon they found themselves unhoused, often sleeping on the train.
Every day was like survival mode, was where am I sleeping or who's going to stay up. That takes a toll on you.
After more than a year, Schaefer says a chance encounter at a shelter with an employee of Metropolitan Family Services turned things around. He was given a business card and called about their services. Schaefer received mental health counseling, vouchers for transportation, and classes in parenting and managing finances. And this gave him the confidence to become a Chicago police officer.
Ever since then, it's like here I am, it's 2024, and that one card kind of changed my whole life.
Schaefer says he's gotten so much from Metropolitan Family Services, even being named Father of the Year, he gives back, counseling other young fathers, and is also on the board.
He not only motivates and inspires the clients, he motivates and inspires us.
What an incredible story. Let's check in with Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
We got a pretty cold start to the day out there. Our roller coaster ride continues. We'll have a full look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News at 6:21 on this Tuesday morning. We're going to start with the future track heading into the afternoon here. We're looking at partly cloudy skies, could have a couple of moments of mostly cloudy skies, and I do believe, even though it may be brief for some of us, we all should reach highs at least into the low 40s today. And that's going to change tomorrow, though. It's going to be a little colder because it's going to be a little colder tonight. Now, by this evening, skies will begin to clear. In fact, we'll go clear, or completely clear, rather, overnight and into our Wednesday. We're going to fall back into the 20s. We're going to start our Wednesday, upper 20s, right around 30 degrees across the area. So that, of course, means it's going to be a little colder tomorrow as well. We'll also have a northwest breeze gusting occasionally upwards of 20, maybe even 25 miles an hour. By noon tomorrow, we're only into the mid to upper 30s for most of us, and the southern half of our area, so let's say let's take 160 or 126, and then points south should make the low 40s. But if you're north of that, you may only make the upper 30s tomorrow. And of course, with the winds gusting, it won't really matter because it's going to kind of feel like it's in the 30s most of the day anyway. Overnight, Wednesday into Thursday, winds will begin to shift out of the south. A warm front lifts up. There's a low pressure off that way, which could bring us some rain chances by Saturday. But ahead of that, yeah, it's going to be cold to start our Thursday, but that south breeze is going to bring in some cloud cover. It's also going to bring in warmer air. By noon Thursday, already upper 40s to 50 degrees, and we're looking at low to mid 50s by Thursday afternoon. Right now, though, it is cold outside. It is 30, and it feels like 21 with a north breeze at 10 in Joplin. Again, skies are clear across most of the area. We do have some partly cloudy skies here and there. Temperatures for everybody right now back into at least the 30s. We're in the low to mid 30s, but once you factor in that wind, the majority of us, it feels like it's in the low to mid 20s for those wind chills, so definitely want to bundle up this morning. Be about 32 by 8, partly cloudy, again breezy. We'll have a north wind today, gusting upwards of 20, 25, 38 by 11 o'clock this morning. Partly cloudy skies, maybe some mostly cloudy skies on occasion, low 40s out there. Then we head into the evening. We start to gradually see the skies clear, and eventually will be clear by late evening. Low 30s by 10, lows back into the mid 20s, and winds ease up just a hair as we go northwest breeze 5 to 10. Not expecting any gusts with the winds tonight, but that won't last. The winds again pick up tomorrow, upper 30s, low 40s, and then we go right back on this ride. This ride hasn't stopped. This is the 5th week. Next week will be the 6th week of these up and down temperatures. We're back into the 50s from Thursday all the way through at least Tuesday. Shower chances late Friday, maybe into early Saturday. Not a bad weekend out there. Maybe a few morning showers on Monday. Another front comes in by Tuesday and drops our temperatures for the highs back into the 40s once again. Let's check your forecast. We're going to send it over to Elise now with Health Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, e-scooter and e-bike injuries have tripled in the U.S. since 2019, according to a nationwide analysis of emergency department visits. Now, the findings publised in the journal Injury Prevention showed that men sustain most of these injuries. Another key finding, the odds of alcohol and substance use were much higher among injured 10 to 17-year-olds compared to older riders. Loneliness and isolation among older Americans have mostly returned to pre-pandemic rates, but more than 1/3 of people age 50 to 80 still feel lonely some of the time or often in the past year. Now, researchers at the University of Michigan found that groups of older adults with the highest rates of loneliness and isolation are the ones who say their mental health is fair or poor. And the short-term cognitive boost people get from exercise may last for 24 hours. Researchers at University College London found on average people aged 50 to 83 who did more moderate to vigorous physical activity than usual on a given day did better in memory tests than the day after. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, Missouri's Christmas City just marked a special mailing milestone.
And we've got a cold start to the day out there, ahead of a chilly day and a breezy day at that. We'll have a look at your forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, a neighborhood in Missouri turns holiday lawn decorations into a chance to give to their community. Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:28. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Tuesday, December the 10th, and of course today's Toy Box Tuesday.
Yes.
And we need a lot more toys to help
Certainly
kids in
do.
the area. And like I said before, you know, we understand times are tight, believe me. That's an understatement,
Yes.
honestly. But anything you can give, will certainly help kids who times are considerably tighter for.
Absolutely, yes. And it only happens once a year, one time a year. So anything that you can do to call, contribute any way you can is much appreciated and really makes a difference.
It certainly does. Of course, we have our telethons noon, 5, 6, and 9 today. And you can check out donation sites and give online at KOAMnewsnow.com. And it's a really good day to stay in and maybe give online or call in during our telethon, because it's going to be a bit on the cold side. Taking a quick look outside from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. Skies over Pittsburgh are clear. We do have some partly cloudy skies here and there, and it is quite cold. A MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline in Joplin, looking back again roughly east-northeast, looking pretty good so far this morning. The future track, we're looking at some partly cloudy skies, maybe even moments of mostly cloudy skies later today. I do believe that all of us, albeit for some of our communities, if you watch here on future track, it will be brief, but I do think that all of us should at least at some point make the low 40s for highs today. As clouds begin to clear later this evening, though, we lose that thermal blanket, which is going to allow us to get pretty darn cold tonight. Quick look at temperatures. We're sitting at 30 in both Joplin and Pittsburgh. Not a lot of change taking place so far. And across the area, you can see temperatures again for just about everybody. In fact, we've come back up. We've had a couple of points of upper 20s, but all of us in the low to mid 30s. That is nothing compared to once you factor in the winds, and the winds make it feel like just about all of us are in the low to mid 20s out there. So a very cold start to the day, which of course means kids getting onto this school bus, they're going to want a coat. 32, partly cloudy, north breeze gusting to 25, so those wind chills will still be a factor. And even when they come home, north wind still gusting upwards of 20, about 43, still partly cloudy skies. And again, I think most of us should make the low 40s for our highs today. Partly cloudy skies, maybe even periods of mostly cloudy skies here and there, with those skies clearing late this evening and overnight. Because it's going to be cold tonight, it'll be even colder tomorrow, but then by tomorrow night, a warm front starts to make its way through. We're going to warm back up again. We'll go over all those details with you in the full forecast, and that's coming up here in just a few more minutes. Lise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Thanks. The U.S. Postal Service is having a busy holiday season. Yesterday, it delivered its 5 billionth piece of mail since Thanksgiving. And that piece of mail passed through the community of Knoll, Missouri, or as it's called in November, Noel. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more on the milestone.
Holiday cheer is in the air in Noel, Missouri, and Noel resident Kathy Ramirez received a special delivery.
Well, that's really, really awesome. It's actually a blessing to be able to know that they do that much work over there.
She received the United States Postal Service's 5 billionth holiday mail piece since Thanksgiving this year.
A lot. And I guess it was just like in a month's time. So that's really, really awesome. They've been working their butts off, I know that for sure.
The holiday milestone being in Noel, also known as the Christmas City, makes it all the more special.
As long as I can remember, since I was a kid, it's always been a big deal to come and get your card stamped in Knoll.
Some from Japan, we've had some from France, we've had some from Germany.
The Noel Post Office receives mail from all over the country and world during the holiday season, from people wanting their mail piece to get the festive stamps.
People come from everywhere, like not just the 4 states, they come from like other states to get their cards stamped.
People will come from all over the country, or they'll mail them to us, and so we'll get letters and cards from Alabama or California.
The USPS is delivering just shy of 500 million mail pieces per day throughout the month of December.
And what better name for a Christmas city than Noel, Missouri?
Reporting in Noel, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The USPS has implemented more than 500 new package sorting machines to help postal workers sort and process packages more quickly. Operation Santa continues through the Postal Service this year. Each season, thousands write letters to Santa through this program. Now, folks can adopt a letter that's written to Santa, buy a gift on that wish list, and ship it to the letter writer. Now, if you want to be a part of this program, you should know December 16th is the deadline to ship a gift. You can find more details about Operation Santa at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, a quirky idea in one Blue Springs, Missouri neighborhood has turned into a festive way to give to the community. It all started with one neighbor's idea to place 14-foot-tall Santas down the street, 21 in total. Now soon the neighborhood began to notice increased traffic in their area. They turned their newfound attraction into an opportunity to benefit the Community Services League by asking for blankets, toys, food, clothes, and whatever else would help.
We are definitely a family, and I think that that's what it's all about.
Just knowing that we can make a difference.
That's what a neighborhood is supposed to be.
And it turns out the neighborhood has become so popular, the mayor has changed the name of the street to Santa Claus Lane until the end of the month. And while you're out Christmas shopping, don't forget about Toy Box Tuesday. You can donate a new toy anytime, or today we make it even easier for you to give. We'll have volunteers manning the phones during our noon, 5, 6, and 9 o'clock newscasts. Now all you have to do is call in and we'll do the shopping for you. It's a chance to make Christmas a little brighter for every child in the 4 states. A Chautauqua, Kansas woman is celebrating a milestone. Anita Schuttfeld reached the youthful age of 101 yesterday. And no surprise, she used the occasion to look back on a good life.
I had a wonderful life, meeting people, and and I've been overseas with him and flying with the Army just to visit around because we both could go and do it, and it was a wonderful life to go and see.
Anita remains the definition of active thanks to her wheelchair scooter and walks around the apartment. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Well, Boeing is laying off hundreds of workers and plans to reduce its workforce by 10%. And we have a colder and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Sky Watch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, well, battles over household chores are often tough to resolve, fueled by an endless cycle of to-do lists. Creators of a new app say they're making it easier to share the load and stop the bickering. Tina Kraus has the story.
Housework can be a hassle, with a laundry list of tasks that never seems to end. And Terry and Christina Obern's chore chart just got longer after their new fur baby joined the family.
And then we do fight because I'm like, you need to clean up because you wanted the dog.
Statistics.
Engineering students in Sweden say they've solved the drama of domestic duties with a new app called Accord that helps families tackle, track, and coordinate chores. CEO Victor Fredriksson admits the solution was his dad's idea.
Finally, one day he basically had enough and said, like, why don't you just program an app so I don't have to nag at you all the time about getting your laundry.
Users put their chores of choice into the app, and other family members can track their progress and send reminders if the task isn't done on time, a feature Spencer Butcher says he would happily use.
If you're going to do it properly, you know. So.
Did she say the same to you?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
The app shows the split of who's pitching in the most, and creators also hope it will help close gender gaps in domestic duties. Niha and Marko Serkovic say it worked for them.
For me, it feels like it's heaven. So it has changed a lot because I felt this was an ongoing issue.
Issues once swept under the rug, now on the table to be sorted out. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Well, shares for the world's most valuable company, NVIDIA, dropped more than 2% Monday after China launched an anti-monopoly investigation into the chip maker. The Chinese government says it's probing agreements surrounding the company's acquisition of tech company Mellanox. It comes amid trade tensions between the U.S. and China, with President-elect Donald Trump threatening to slap additional tariffs on Chinese exports. Google has unveiled Willow, its new quantum computing chip that's capable of solving complicated problems in under 5 minutes. Today's supercomputer would take longer than the history of the universe to solve those same problems. The company says the new chip can also significantly reduce quantum computing errors. Google says its chip is just one milestone in its process of creating faster computers that are capable of solving more complex scientific problems. And Boeing has laid off hundreds of workers in Washington state and California as part of its stated goal of reducing its workforce by 10%. Now, this comes just over a month after union machinists ended a weeks-long strike. Boeing CEO says the job cuts are due to overstaffing and not because of that work stoppage. And that's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, taking a look outside from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. You can see the sun is rising. Sky's clear over Pittsburgh, but it is a bit on the cold side. Looking pretty good as well from MoDOT camera 20th and range line in Joplin. And as we look at the future track into the afternoon, we are looking at partly cloudy skies. We could have a few periods of mostly cloudy skies for some of us out there. And I do believe we all, albeit briefly, should make the low 40s for highs today. That will not necessarily be the case tomorrow. By late afternoon and into the evening hours, the skies will begin to clear. We're also going to be breezy today. The good news is the winds will ease up a bit as we head into the overnight hours tonight. Temperatures right now, though, again on the cold side, 30 in Joplin as well as Pittsburgh. And across the region, we've had a couple of upper 20s here and there, and they have returned. Fort Scott and Lamar, not exactly the same locations, but still a couple of upper 20s. Most of us, though, in the low 30s. But once you factor in that wind, it doesn't matter because it feels a lot colder than that everywhere. It feels like the low 20s across most of the region, except for Independence, where it feels like it is 19 this morning. So kids getting on the bus, they're going to want a coat or two or three, depending on what their tolerance for the cold may be. Partly cloudy skies, north breeze 10 to 15, gusts to 25, 32 when they get on the bus. When the bus brings them home, about 43. North winds 10 to 15, they ease up that much, gusting to 20, and we'll still have those partly cloudy skies. Our roller coaster ride of temperatures. This is week number 5, and believe it or not, it looks likely it's going to continue into a 6th week. We'll have a full look at your forecast here in just a moment, as well as birthdays and anniversaries. But first, here's what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Nate Burleson. Here's what's coming up on CBS Mornings. Christian Slater and Patrick Gibson will be here. They star in the highly anticipated prequel to Dexter, and they'll talk about the return of one of TV's most famous serial killers. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Right, time for some Tuesday birthdays, and we're going to start in Farlington, Kansas, with Aaliyah Noe celebrating birthday number 3. Says happy birthday from your grandparents and family.
And in Chanute, a happy 5th birthday to Hazley and Joe Olson. It says love Daddy, Mommy, Lakin, and all of your family and friends.
And we've got Case and Griffin High School celebrating birthday number 6 in Stockton. I'm sure you can tell they are twins. It says love you bunches from your family.
And over in Riverton, a happy 9th birthday to Brooklyn Zorns. It says happy birthday from Jackson, Mom and Dad.
And we've got Carly Brocob in Girard celebrating birthday number 11. Carly is the one on the right. A very happy 11th birthday to you.
And in Pittsburgh, a happy 13th birthday to Cruz Harrell.
And in Webb City, Noah Stalling celebrating birthday number 14 today. Happy birthday.
And a happy 20th birthday to Trinity Lay in Baxter Springs. It says with love from Mom and Kinsley.
And in Parsons, Josie and Tom Hayward celebrating. So Josie is Tom's granddaughter, celebrating the same birthday, but not quite the same birth year, as Josie is celebrating number 20, and Tom celebrating birthday number 81 over in Parsons.
And a happy 39th birthday to Lindsay Garrow. It says, from your family, we love you.
And we've got Sherry Schofield celebrating birthday number 74 in Miami. A very happy birthday to Sherry.
And in Pittsburgh, a happy 81st birthday to Dennis Woodward.
And in Pickway, Dwayne Reno celebrating birthday number 83. Says love from your family and especially your brats.
And a happy 90th birthday in Riverton To Aline Duggar, it says, with love from your family.
And this is a really good birthday list because it continues onto a second page for us as we're celebrating Lucille Jansen in Parsons. Happy birthday, Lucille.
And a very happy birthday to Vance Lewis here at KOAM, who is the promotions manager, or as we like to call him as well, Promo Land.
Yes.
Vance Lewis, happy birthday to
The
you.
sign above his door even says Promo Land. So yeah, Vance handles a lot of our community affairs things, our community outreach. When we're out on location, Vance is the guy who brings the truck, the tables, the generator, the power cords. He has all that stuff.
Yes, he does.
He does. And a very happy birthday, and thank you, Vance. And as I mentioned, this is a really good list. It does continue as we celebrate Jaden Houston in Webb City. I don't think Jaden is 0-0. Jaden here, it says, is 14. But Jaden started at 0-0 and has now made it to 14. Happy birthday, Jaden.
And in Chetopa, happy birthday to Mary Hess.
And in Columbus, Maryland Westervelt celebrating another year wiser.
And last but not least, happy birthday to Margie Morris in Cherryville.
All right. Like I said, that was a great list of birthdays and anniversaries, especially for a Tuesday.
Fantastic.
We need to make every day like this. There's got to be a lot of celebrations going on. Elise, where should they send those celebrations?
Yes, go ahead and submit them to birthdays at KOAMnewsnow.com. Be sure to include those photos, messages to meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen, and to also include the date of your celebration when submitting as well.
Yes, very important information indeed. We're going to take a quick look around at some cameras around the area, and we are going to start with our camera that is located in downtown Pittsburgh. Got it pointed back toward the sunrise, and boy, it looks absolutely beautiful this morning. It is cold out there, but it's a gorgeous start to the day. Same from our camera at 7th and Range Line. As the sun slowly starts to rise out there, just again, it's always beautiful to see the sunrise. Or if you're up in the evenings, the sunset, of course, always pretty. And because MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Lines pointed back east-northeast, we're also getting a bit of a view of that sunrise this morning. And the MoDOT camera 32nd and Range Line, however, is pointed back to the west, so it still looks dark out there. But we have mostly clear skies across the area. In fact, looking at the Skywatch Storm Tracker, we do have some clouds here and there, but nothing too crazy as of yet. Now, as we go through the rest of the morning, we are looking at partly cloudy skies and maybe even a few periods of mostly cloudy skies into the afternoon. We're also going to have to contend with gusty winds. Now, later this evening, skies will begin to clear, and we'll have clear skies overnight. And of course, without the clouds, without that thermal blanket, it does get a little colder tonight. By 5 a.m., we're into the upper 20s and low 30s to start our Wednesday. Another sunny day, another breezy day tomorrow. And because we have a colder start and we have those gusty northwest winds, it is going to be slow to warm. We're talking roughly mid-upper 30s for most of us by noon on Wednesday. Then as we head into Wednesday evening, still not bad, but you see how the wind arrows have slowed down. You see how they're starting to come in shift directions here. It's because we have a low pressure off to our southwest. It's attached to a cold front down south and a warm front that is going to lift across our area, and that will cause the winds to come in out of the south. And even though it's going to be very cold to start our Thursday, you can see we're in the low to mid 20s and some upper 20s, it will be much warmer for our Thursday. By the afternoon, clouds increasing ahead of some rain chances on Friday, winds out of the south-southwest increasing, and temperatures following suit. Take a look by 5 o'clock Thursday, we are looking at the mid 50s for a number of us. This morning, though, nowhere near that. We're sitting at 30 in Joplin. North breeze at 10 makes it feel like 21 degrees. And across the area, again, we do have some upper 20s out there. Fort Scott and Lamar. The majority of us, though, still hanging on to the low 30s. But all of that doesn't matter because you throw in the wind and you get this. Feels like 19 in Independence. The rest of us still feels like the low to mid 20s for the most part. So, again, a cold start to the day. 32 at 8. Partly cloudy skies, breezy, north winds gusting to 20, 38 by 11 a.m. We'll have another look at your forecast, plus the news you need to know here in just a moment. And when we switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., we're going to see how a group of Kansas City kids receive a dream trip to the North Pole.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Emergency crews in Newton County, Missouri responded to multiple crashes in the same area. Around 8 in the morning, A vehicle left the road and struck a tree. A Newton County ambulance responded to the first crash and then found itself in a crash. And another two-vehicle crash occurred while the first two were being attended to. All three crashes took place on Gateway Drive. 4 people were transported to area hospitals, all with non-life-threatening injuries. Well, starting January 1st, a new law will hold Missourians accountable for hand-operating their phones while driving. Currently, violators receive only a warning, but after December 31st, those caught using their phone by hand behind the wheel will face a $150 fine for a first offense. If the violation results in serious injury, the fine is doubled and offenders could face up to 7 years in prison. And while you're out Christmas shopping, don't forget about Toy Box Tuesday. You can donate a new toy anytime, or today we make it even easier for you to give. We'll have volunteers manning the phones during our noon, 5, 6, and 9 o'clock newscasts. All you have to do is call in and we'll do the shopping for you. And now to check out today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
As you head out the door, it is cold this morning and breezy. It will be that way this afternoon. Highs, I think all of us even briefly should make the low 40s out there. Partly to mostly cloudy skies. North winds gusting to 20 will make it feel like it's in the 30s regardless of what your high is. Skies will clear this evening. Low 30s by 10, mid 20s overnight. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Those winds pick back up tomorrow out of the northwest, gusting to 20. Highs upper 30s, low 40s. Another cold night Wednesday. A night into Thursday. Warm front arrives. Puts us in the 50s through next Tuesday. Rain chances Friday and Monday. And then another cold front next week brings our temperatures right back down to the 40s.
Alrighty. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making bread bowl fondue in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Oil prices climbed after the fall of Syria's Assad regime. Coming up on CBS Mornings, what this means for gas prices here in the U.S.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, we'll see how you can turn stress into success this holiday season.
Plus, Charlene Patton in the studio with another healthy recipe for us. However, that is going to wrap it up for us for now. We will be back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.